welcome to Steve McDonald's Arts and Crafts, and today what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to make some little key rings made out of these bags, and I'm going to do different size bags as well, and do a little seascape in them, because I've got all these shells that I've made when I've had little bits of leftover resin and things, and I've got a seashell mould that I'll link it in the description. I'm going to be using some sand, a little bit of coloured gravel, these bags, and I've also got these lovely little jellyfish left over from a previous project, and these little seahorses as well, which I will also be popping in. All I need to do to start with is I need to mix up my sand and some resin. I'm just going to pop a bit of resin in. Just want that resin to be able to cover that sand like so, and to make sure it's all covered rather than any dry spots in there. So give it a really good mix in. Now what I always find when I mix sand and resin together is however much you try, you get a lot of bubbles. They should just come to the top. I can get rid of them. As you can see, look, there's already quite a lot of bubbles coming up in that. So while that is releasing its bubbles, what I'm also going to do is I've got the rest of my resin mixed up here, and I'm going to pop in a little bit of transparent light blue into it, just to give it a bit of colour. And I'm going to also put some of this into the gravel as well, to allow that to start to permeate down and to soak into that. To start with, I'm going to pop a bit of the gravel into the bottom of this bag, push it to the bottom. And these are just bags that I get when I get deliveries of things, and I always keep everything just in case it might come in handy. And for the next ones, I'm going to be popping in the sand and doing the same. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop a shell in and get it up the right way. And I think I'll put a starfish in this one too. And then just put it to one side. And I'm just going to do the same with the other bags. They're all done now. Now what you can do is you can leave this to cure before you put the stars and different bits and pieces in, and then they wouldn't sink down. Or you can do it like I'm doing it, where you want to rush it and get these things done straight away. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to pour my blue in onto the top of that to about there. And then pop in, I'll pop it in there so I don't drop it. And then pop in one of the jellyfish. Now, I don't mind now if there's bubbles in this when it's finished, because it is water after all, and it's going to be an underwater scene. So that's absolutely fine with me. I'm going to close the bag up. Okay, so it's all closed up. And then I'm going to leave it in that there like that, crinkle it up a little bit, so that you can actually see that it was a bag at one time. And I'm just going to go ahead and do the rest of these like that. Pop them in one of these pots and let them cure. What I've done is I've taken out the little shells, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if these ones work out better by letting the sand cure up and then putting the resin on. I'm ready to do these ones now because these have set, but as you can see, what did happen was these actually sunk right the way down, and I thought they would. So what I'm going to try is something slightly different. I've used a bit of the UV resin to stick the jellyfish to the shells, and now what I'm going to do is pop the shells in there and then stick those down to the sand so that they shouldn't move. And that'll be fairly easy to do. I just need to pop a bit of UV resin onto the bottom of that shell like that. Pop it into the bag. Get it into place that I want it. And I want it to be about like there. Shine the UV lamp on that until I'm happy that it's cured. They should be cured now, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to pop my resin into there on the top, fill it to just over the top of the jellyfish itself, then close up that bag. That should then stay where I've put it, and the jellyfish should look like it's floating. And then going to pop it back in that little pot there to let that cure. These have all cured now, so we can take them out. I've already taken one out, which I'll show you in a second. and they come out fairly easily. The bags don't stick, or these bigger bags don't stick. I haven't tried the smaller bags. I quite like how that's come out, although I do think maybe I did the water a little bit dark in this one. It looks like it's under the sea at night, and I'm going to trim off those little bits on the top where there was spare resin just coming out. And by creasing it up, it still does look like a bag, which is good. But this is the one where I didn't prep the jellyfish or the shells first, so they kind of did move around, and you can't actually see the starfish in that one. And the other one I did unbag as well. That's a little bit lighter, and the urchin has floated to the top. But these are the other ones I made, where I set the sand first and then I put the shell and stuck the jellyfish to the shell using UV resin. And I also didn't make the water as dark. I think these ones have probably come out. Yeah, these ones have come out much better. I like that one. I think that's quite cute. And what I'm going to show you in a second is how I make my own rings to put on these. So I've got a decent sized ring because I want to put the keyring quite low down. So that means you need quite a bigger ring for it. And again, that one I think has come out really well too. How I make the rings is, I've got some jewellery wire here, which is 0.6mm jewellery wire. I will link this in the description below, don't worry. And I have a piece of wooden doweling. You can make these to really whatever size you want, but the larger you go, use a thicker gauge wire. And all I do is, I pop this on here like so, twist it round as many times as you think you need. I usually do about 3 rings per fitting, so I'm going to put this round quite a bit, pushing that together. I'm just going to cut that off there, so I've got that, that's manageable. I'm going to push that together, and then I use my jewellery tools like so to push that together. That's kind of giving me like a little spring. I will cut this bit off here so it's kind of flush with that spring. We'll take that one off in the same level on the so we've got the first one, which is that one there, 1, 2, and then on the third one I will cut it off, and there that gives us a little spring. You can do it 2 or you can do it 3. I'll show you what it looks like 2. So we've got 1, 1, 2. We'll cut that off there. And what you'll find is these are a lot more secure than if you were to just use a normal jump ring. So what we now need to do is make a hole in here, and you can use your little hand drill, but I'm obviously going to use my Dremel because I love my Dremel. I love my Dremel. Now I've got that on the hole drilled in there, and I've cleaned that out using a little micro brush. What I'm going to do is I'm going to attach this, and it should attach really simply. I just open it up like that, push that through, wind it back on itself. So that's all on there nice and secure, and that's not going to come off. I then add my little keyring attachment onto there and do exactly the same. So that's on then on all of them. And then to secure that, all I do is I take my little needle nose pliers like this that create little circles. I nip onto the circle there and I give it a twist until it's hitting the other side, and then that isn't going to go anywhere because it's nice and secure. Those loops aren't going to allow it to go off, and that isn't going to come off there either. So there we go, we've got a nice useful keyring that looks like a little sea life in a bag. Check out the video that I've got coming up next. It'll be a really interesting video, and I'll look forward to seeing you there. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future videos, and the like button as well, because that really does help me. Take care of yourself. Enjoy your resin. Bye.